don't know if anybody's here except me, and that's okay. I just thought as long as I'm doing this, I might as well have some company. So I have a little brandy. I love this Heaven and Earth Tarot so much. Oh, hold on. There we go. All right, you don't even need the desktop audio, so we're good. All right. But I started noticing just in the course of regular shuffling, let me zoom in. Way in. Do you see the edges with the little white spots? I had a couple really bad ones that I fixed. There, you can see a couple. See those little white nicks? They bug me because they stand out, and anything that makes any one particular card stand out bothers me. Now I'm going to unzoom in. Wait. Okay, almost there. But I am going to light a charcoal so I have something that smells good. Oh, hi, Samantha. Hi, darling. Oh, some good mead. Yeah. It looks like it's you and me, baby. Which is pretty freaking awesome. I'm modifying a deck. There's only one other deck that I've modified before. And I wouldn't even call it, modified. My second copy of Hanson Roberts that I bought and don't use, I did start writing some keywords on it here and there. And then I had the Titania's Oracle Lenormand style deck, and I wrote numbers on that because those didn't have numbers. But yeah, check this out, Heaven and Earth. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. Look at this. I've unboxed it, so there's a review of it. Here, let me make myself smaller. There we go. It's beautiful. I mean, it's the standard imagery, but the images are just so dimensional. And then we've got an element symbol, a planet, actually a couple planets here, and a sign, and then there's a keyword on all of the cards too. So my current favorite. Backs are dark, but like I said, then you get these little white nicks that just show up and they stick out like a sore thumb. All right. Okay, sweet. Well, Samantha, when you go to order it, I think I have it set up for, shipping or pickup. And if you do pick up, I will deliver. I will deliver. So I'm going to modify this deck by just doing by edging it. And I know a lot of people do this, and I've picked a gold Sharpie to do this with. And then we'll see. I don't know if it's going to fix the nicks. But the two that I've fixed so far, and I thought they were oddballs and I would just do it on a per nick basis, but it seems like every time I shuffle them, they're getting nicked more. So if I do have other big white nicks that this edging does not solve, then I'll just hit them with that brown marker or whatever color it was. But I think edging it is cool. And I know there are a lot of people, this is a trend these days, of modifying decks. Ooh, it's bleeding in at the edge a little bit. Oh, 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 oh. Okay. Oh, dang. Oh, no, 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 no. Well, we're learning things, aren't we? Do you see this? Oh, Lord of mercy. I might need to get a little bit of alcohol here because I don't want that. I don't want that on the back. Hang on. My alcohol in a little cup and some Q-tips. All right. And now I need a paper towel. Let me see if I can find one. No, but I have a Kleenex. All right. So those who are just joining us, this is where Luna learns about modifying decks and what not to do right off the frickin' bat. So this might be a per card thing. You know, I thought I was going to do it fast and dirty, but guess what? All right. I'm going to put a little bit on there and wipe most of it off. And then, please come off. Please, 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 please come off. Oh, shut. There we go. Yes, it does come off. What I really need is my 90%. Talk amongst yourselves. Let's see here. Yeah, one card at a time. Yep. What else am I doing? Nothing. Right. So what I've got here is my little kit for when I was doing the sigils on the mirrors. There's that. I also have paint pens that I'm not going to use for this. I'm just going to continue with the Sharpie. All right. So let me fix the issues that I have caused. And there are many of them. Right. Let's put the 70% back in. Like I was saying before, it's never been my aspiration to, like, you know, make decks my own through modification. I'm just not that interested in that part of it. But this one caused me a problem, so I went to solve the problems, and I caused me another problem. And now we're fixing that. And having fun while we learn. Let's see here. Oh, do please come off. It's coming off. Yes, it's coming off. And the alcohol doesn't seem to be hurting the cards at all. So maybe if I'm a little more generous with it, I'll get them cleaned up in no time. And then go at it from the back. Okay, anybody else here do modifications? I've seen people modify decks by cutting them down. And while I really understand the impulse to do that when you've got a massive deck that defies shuffling, I would be too afraid of not getting them cut evenly. And there was a showing my daughter, oh, the Zombie Tarot. It's such a cool deck, but when I got it out to shuffle it, and you can tell if this is the case, like the instant you do a riffle shuffle. The cards are not cut even at the top. When you get them shuffled and you look, some are taller than others, and so when you go to riffle shuffle, it just doesn't work, and that makes me so very sad. And you know what? I'm not too upset about the gold on the front of the cards, some of them. But like you said, Samantha, I think just coming at it from the back. Because I don't want to ruin my deck. It is such a good one, and it makes me happy. All right. Where it's really... Oh, somebody's messaging me. Just a moment. Oh, okay. It's my niece messaging me because... I got a couple of likes there. Yay. Because today my daughter and my son both got vax appointments scheduled. So they will be getting theirs next week. My son gets his first the day after I get my second. So my second is a week from tomorrow. And it's Pfizer, and they're saying that the antibody testing that they're doing, oh my goodness. Wow, that one really went. They're doing testing now, like real life testing of, you know, how much protection do you have from being infected altogether. And with the Pfizer and the Moderna both, it's like 90%. So that makes me very happy. And once those two get it, then my entire family will be vaccinated. You know, it's a load lifting off. But I also have to say, I have a friend that works in contact tracing. She started working with, I can't remember the health department or I don't think it's a hospital, I think it's a local health department. And she started contact tracing. So whenever they had somebody test positive, she would interview them to find out where they'd been, who they were in contact with, you know, both to figure out where they picked it up and where they might have spread it. And I'm also very disappointed that we never got, you know, they were talking about contact tracing apps. So you could get an alert if, you know, maybe a place you'd been, holy mackerel, was a hot spot or something. And she said that there is an uptick in cases in Summit and Portage County. I'm in Portage, she's in Summit, right next door. And that, like, almost 100% down the line, people are saying, you know, these are people that are saying, but I was being so careful and I was wearing a mask and we were eating indoors in restaurants. She's like, nearly every single one of them that was being so careful was also eating inside at restaurants. That's not a good idea. All right. A little bit more here. You know, this is my... Okay, astrology lesson coming Duck and cover. My sixth house. Sixth house is work, like work ethic, and how you go about working, how you go about doing a job. What's your process? My sixth house is ruled by Aries. So what I tend to do is just go barreling in, and then I find out what the best way to do it is. I mean, there are times when I think about things, but most of the time I get a burr under my saddle, I want to do something, and I go barreling in. And I solve the problem, get the project done. And this is a great example. But that Mars rules Aries, so Mars rules that sixth house. Mars also sits in that sixth house, but it's in Taurus, which means that once I get going on a project, even if I run into a bunch of snags, I don't give up. I just keep going. I just keep barreling through. Yeah, who else is with us? Say hi. Join us. Join us, won't you? And, you know, something is telling me, and as I'm actively ignoring it, that I need not to be doing this on my cloth. So I'm going to listen to that before I get too far in and go, oh my God, I've ruined this deck for good and forever. This was a gift deck from Annette Klein. And of the many gift decks I've gotten, and the many gift decks I've gotten from Annette, I think this is number one. It's just an amazing. Okay. See, they're getting wet, and if there's ink on a card next to it, it's just pulling it right off. So these have to dry. This is kind of why I shot doing the prayer beads tutorial like at least 3 times. I think it was only 3 times. Because I would just jump in. I just need to do this. And I would jump in and do it, and my workspace was a mess. And it just didn't work out right. And so the last time I'd finally made all my mistakes, the last time I just said, okay, clear off the desk, set everything out in a way that makes sense, and give everybody a calm and peaceful experience, rather than a Luna doesn't know what the hell she's doing experience. I just had no idea how much ink was going in between the cards. All right. Cheers. I should have put on some waves or something for us to hear. Uh-oh. No, I didn't. I keep thinking, am I taking ink off? But these cards are, they're coated. It's not like the ink is sitting on top of the cardboard. So, I'm not ruining them. I'm not ruining them. I'm not ruining them. And the same thing goes for doing the fanning powder. The first couple decks I used the fanning powder on. I did each and every card. I took my little brush and dipped it in 2 grains of powder, rubbed it on one side, rubbed it on another. And, it can be a nice little meditation, but it gets old. So what I've been doing is what Denise at Spiritual Growth Tarot recommended, which is take your cards and put them like on some newspaper or something and sprinkle a little powder over them and then smear them all around, flip them over and smear them all around again. And that seemed to work pretty well. And by the way, I apologize for not yet getting up a video on the Bellini Oracle. I said I was going to do that Friday. and we had no internet on Friday and Saturday. So there went that project. So you may be seeing Bellini Oracle this Friday. I shot the video, but I haven't produced it yet. Okay. Dry, dry, dry. All right, I'm almost at the end of fixing my mistake. I'd be halfway through the whole deck, but no, stop that. Stop that. We are where we are, and we're doing this because it's fun. And what you're seeing, you know, this smudgy stuff is the ink itself, the Sharpie ink. But I've seen people edge their decks in really beautiful colors, you know, beautiful greens and just really lovely. All right. Yeah, not done yet. And I'm realizing, did I say Bellini again? Bellini Oracle? It's not Bellini. It's Belline. B-E-L-L-I-N-E. All right. Yeah, hi, there's 3. Okay. Samantha, Yumi, who else? And I don't know if I'm counted in this tally. I'm watching it from my channel, so I don't know if I get counted. And I have to go through this a bit of a gyration when I go live, because since it's live and not a video, when I'm on my channel, it doesn't show the scheduled live. You know how it shows up in your subscription things saying somebody's got a live coming at this time? It doesn't show up in mine because it's my channel. So I have to go, in order to be able to monitor the live, I go to my other channel, my personal channel, and I click on the live, and then I have to switch back over to my channel account. But then I don't know if I'm counted in the number of people watching or not. Alcohol fumes. Oh, so the Samantha, how did you fare during the winds, during the high winds? Hi, Sherry. Yay, we all friends here. We had the woods behind us are starting to look very different. You know, in the last 5 years or so, we had those 2 gigantic poplar trees come down, the grandmother and grandfather trees. And now, in the winds this weekend, we've had an oak tree that has been dead since we moved in up here 22 years ago, 22 and a half years ago. And there was this branch that used to stick out that looked like a dragon mouth, and we watched so many years of families of squirrels going in that branch and raising families. And then that branch fell off, and it's just been decaying, but it's this, you know, big stick of a, you know, probably 6-foot circumference oak tree at the base. Well, I looked out today, and it's just inside the woods to where if it fell straight this way, it would hit the building. And I looked out there today to see that it was rotten at the bottom, and it had just ka-boonk, collapsed on itself and fell leaning into the beech tree. Now, the beech is mighty, too. The trunk of it is massive. And it's pretty, you know, the oak tree's kind of in the crotch of a couple of branches, so it doesn't look like it's going anywhere. But that's a lot of wood. That's a lot of heavy, heavy wood. Plus thinking, how nice would it be to get it down, because then it is usable firewood, and our friends that own the property and live up the hill could certainly make use of it. But, we've watched these old growth trees coming down and opening up the habitat in the middle, so much more sunlight. And we've watched the smaller trees, the ones that were, this big around, have just started shooting up. So it's amazing to live in one place long enough where you really get familiar with the ecosystem and watch it growing and changing. And I've had nightmares about, we're out someplace and we come home and I look out the window and all the trees are gone and it's just stumps. And I've wakened up like literally crying from those dreams. And you've probably heard me mention something of the sort happened the last couple 3 months, couple months maybe, where the owner of the property on the other side of where our friends live decided to harvest the wood to make some money off of it. So just clear cut. So there's a field, and the back of the field used to be dense woods looking back through. Now it's just a very shallow screen of trees and a bunch of stumps on the other side. So, all right. I think, no, not quite yet. I was going to say, I think disaster has been pulled back from the brink. And you know what? I just decided that I don't really care if there's a little bit on the back of the cards or not. I don't care. It's got such an antique-y look to begin with. And if it ends up looking, even more antique-y, am I going to be upset? No. I'd like to know where I started this, asking myself questions and answering them style. Do I know? No, I don't. Maybe it's, a symptom of doing a channel where nobody can talk back to me except by typing. All right. I do think this is it. Now, back to the cards. Let's see what happens if we do them one at a time. That one had the top, and then we just go down the side. And yes, this will take a while. So don't expect me to finish them while we're sitting here talking. I'm thinking about other things I can do while I'm waiting for decks to arrive. And I do have a few more tarot books to go through that I will bring you. My very favorite one is coming up, and that is Classic Tarot Spreads. Whoops. That's where I've gotten my two favorite spreads from. And then I may start, I don't know, doing like a top 5 thing, or... And I have not been putting up Astro Snacks videos because that content is just not gelling in my head. And I suffer from having done astrology for so long that it's hard for me to just you know, parse it down into little bits and bytes. So I think what I need to do is just start gathering questions. When I'm doing this kind of shit. This could be more of a meditative process than ever I imagined. Because if I don't pay attention to going straight down the line, that happens. Do you see? And that's what we don't want. So now I have to clean that one up. Hey, Mystic Beard. Right on. No, it doesn't seem too severe. The Pirate Tarot. Ooh, how do you plan to cut it down? You know, I'd like to know the process of this, because it's like, unless you've got a die cutter thing that can go ka-chunk and cut through the whole deck at the same time, how do you get them so the edges are absolutely even? I would be afraid. Okay. That one's done. That one's done. 2. I got 2 done. All right. And like I said, I'm not going to be too bothered because this deck has that really antique-y look to it anyhow. I know, I have a little bit of a rant. And see, this is why I haven't mentally hit a plan about how I want to approach doing Astro Snacks. But my rant is that we are going to end up with a discipline of astrology that doesn't really look like astrology. Because what I'm seeing is people getting their charts from a site, and that's not a problem. But then instead of like getting a report that goes with it or something, they're starting to read things here and there. And it seems to be a thing of just catching, you know, a little bit of information, and it's kind of the enough to be dangerous sort of thing. Ooh, I made a mess there. And then kind of extrapolating incomplete information into, oh, this is how you read a chart. And I saw one yesterday, and these things just make me kind of go, ugh, because what ends up happening is we get a strike against astrology because people are putting out a really inaccurate, imprecise model of it, I guess. So this particular thing was, somebody said, if my Venus, for instance, and it was Venus, now that I remember, is at 27 degrees of Scorpio. That's really close to Sagittarius. So should I just take that as Venus being in Sagittarius? And my response, you know, I try to step back and think about how I'm saying, but it was like, nope, nope, nope. No, 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 no. And I told them that, you know, astrology is a snapshot in time. And when you take that snapshot, it freezes things in position. And, you know, it's a moment. And so if your snapshot is at a certain time and Venus is at 27 degrees of Scorpio, that's where your Venus is. It can only be in one place at a time. And if it, you know, if there's the case of, well, let me say that even if Venus were at 29 degrees, 59 minutes and 59 seconds of Scorpio, your Venus would still be in Scorpio. However, if you get a chart done and you have a planet, particularly one of the inner planets, one of the faster moving planets, at such a very late degree, and by such a very late degree, I mean 29 degrees, you know, and some minutes and seconds, your Venus is still in Scorpio. But if you have that situation and Venus in Sagittarius feels way more like, you read Venus in Scorpio and it's absolutely nothing like you, but Venus in Sagittarius is exactly like you, then you have to start asking, do we have an inaccurate birth time? Because astrologically, the time of birth is supposed to be the time of the first breath. Because according to magical and mystical and religious traditions through history, the moment of the first breath is when the soul comes in. Same thing with death. When you expire, breathe out, your soul goes out on the breath. And I have a feeling that there are many births that happen now where a baby is born, and as soon as that baby is out of the mom, somebody looks at the clock and says, this is the time of birth. But if that baby doesn't breathe in, you know, many babies are born, particularly if there's been Pitocin or something that suppresses breathing. The baby will come out but doesn't take a breath in for a couple of minutes, and then you have an inaccurate birth time. But precision is the point here. Another thing I have seen is that somebody is saying, I have a stellium in, you know, whatever sign. And it's these three planets, and they're at 5 degrees and 16 degrees and 28 degrees. That's not a stellium. A stellium is not 3 planets in the same sign. A stellium is 3 planets conjunct each other. That means within 7 degrees of each other. So what we're going to end up with is a lot of imprecision. And if you want something to be accurate, you need to be precise. Tarot isn't about precision, it's about intuition. It's about knowingness and flow and being connected and receiving and being able to put the message out. Astrology is about accuracy and knowing your shit, knowing what things mean. So that's, oh, hi, Rose. Yay! Okay, let me catch up with comments here. I have a small version of the cutter. Oh! Ooh. Yeah, there's a couple other decks. I think that's, one of them was, I think it was Druidcraft. That's pretty massively chunky and, you know, big borders. And you got to wonder why they do it. I don't understand. Boy, Rose, that is very, very well put. And I mean, the truth is people are hungry to know themselves. But like you said, it is a slow burn. It is a deep read. It's a long book. It is a long novel in many parts, you know. Whereas tarot and oracle, you know, the study can be an ongoing lifetime thing, but the information can be very immediate and open to a great deal of interpretation. And that's true with astrology to a certain degree. But those interpretations are taken from, depending on what you're interpreting, which planet, whatever, which position. Um, those the interpretations that you have to choose from are going to be much more specific. And I mean, that's the thing, that astrology deals in specifics. It's not general information. It is specific traits. And if you're going to get wishy-washy with the math and with the meanings of things, then you're just going to have sloppy astrology, and you'll find eventually it's not going to ring true. You try to be that loose with somebody, and somebody along the way is going to go, boy, that's not true. And then you're going to lose faith in what you're doing. And even, I am such a natal astrologer through and through. It even kind of grates on me to do the new and full moon charts and look at, what those mean, because I find myself kind of using natal astrology terms to describe things. And, we don't all turn into Libras when we're on a Libra moon, or we don't all turn into Libra moons. So one of the things I consider doing with Astro Snacks is looking at charts of famous people in the news, people we're interested in, people we find ourselves saying, what the fuck is wrong with them? Or where does all that talent come from? And the problem with that is that nothing exists in a vacuum. And a natal chart does not show what happened. It shows what the potential was. And only by knowing the choices that the person has made can we see how those natal positions have played out. And it's like, when I'm doing a reading, there are a lot of times where I say, well, it could go this way or it could go this way. And it's two sides of the same coin. It's like, looking at one aspect in a chart, you don't say two totally unrelated different things. You say two sides of the same coin. For instance, Neptune. You've got Neptune, heavy Neptune influences. That's going to be somebody who likes to escape. Now, whether that escape is going to be through the arts, mystical experiences, spiritual experiences, music, theater, drugs, alcohol, anything else that alters your reality, who knows? Only the person whose chart you're looking at is going to be able to tell you. However, you're naturally going to say, go with the more positive stuff if you're looking at a flowing aspect, and the more negative stuff if you're looking at squares and oppositions and stuff. But, and this is on the brain because I have again been working on this PowerPoint for my patrons, Rose. And I just came to the realization today that I think I've got too much information crammed in, and I've done this before, where I think this isn't enough information, I got to give more, and then when I sit down to lecture over it, I realize just that I need to pare it back. So tomorrow I'm going to be shooting a lecture, and Goddess willing and the creek don't rise, you will be getting your 4th lesson tomorrow. All right. Yeah. It's a commitment. Astrology is absolutely a commitment. And, this is why, it definitely shows up in people's charts that are interested in astrology, because it's a mindset and an understanding, like an intuitive understanding. You just get that there's information to be had here, and then that information sticks easily. Sorry, guys, my eyes are running and running and running because I was outside today and walking around in the woods a little bit. I had a sinus headache. My eyes are streaming even after my allergy drops. So this is starting to flow a little more easily, if you could tell. And it does bleed in just a little bit. I don't know if you can see. I think you can see that. But like I said, I'm okay with it. See, I have this thing about well, let's say that I've got a whole bunch of really great little journals that I've had for literally decades that I've never written a thing in, because I don't want to ruin the journal, you know. I pulled out one of those when I started working with the Lenormand, and I thought, this will be great. Every day I'm going to do a little Lenormand reading and track my progress here, and I could not make myself write in the journal. I think that's part of my anxiety fun. All right. Let me pull these up and take a look at what they're going to look like together. Yeah, nice. Nice, nice. Sorry, gotta wipe my eyes again. Streaming, streaming. I think that means I need to drink the rest of my brandy. And this is a short brandy tonight. Ah. That's the truth, too. So much stuff to study. From the time I started doing all this stuff back in the 80s, and it was actually more of the 70s that I started my interest in astrology goes way back. But I didn't start formally studying until the 80s, early 80s. And it's always been a bane of my existence to be, fortunately, I have a new term for it, and that is multi-passionate, multi-creative. I used to get frustrated and very down on myself because I had so many interests and could never just dial in on one. But the way it's gone through the years is I have, I'd hit a level of astrology and then kind of leave it alone for a while and go, throw myself into music for a while. And then another thing, come back to astrology and another round of study. And even going over the same material after, many years of practice, going back to kind of some of the basics, can bring new understanding of things. So it's kind of like everything just keeps turning round and round, and each of the things that I'm passionate about gets some time and gets intensive time, and then gets, kind of the back burnered, and on we go. You see, there's one of those little nicks. So if I do that, pretty good. Oof, I don't know if I'll be able to keep doing this. My eyes are just literally tearing down my cheeks. Let's see here. Got over the journal thing big. Yeah, I have, I bought one of my favorite notebooks, which is a 5-subject with the little pockets in between. Except when I got it, I found out that it was Wide ruled instead of college ruled, and that upset me terribly. But I'm using it anyhow because I have a lot of things to keep track of and ideas that I'm writing down and processes that, I'm working out and stuff like that. And while we're sitting here, I would appreciate any good wishes and good vibes that you guys put out for my husband and myself to get our relief money this round. We have not gotten it. And first round, we waited 2 weeks. Second round, we waited 2 days. This round just seems to be stuck. And I even wrote to our senator, our Democratic senator for Ohio, who is an awesome guy, Sherrod Brown. Like right when the bill got signed, I wrote to him and said, hey, I know of a few people that were eligible for the last payments that never got them and never could figure out how to get them. And I have a son that is going to be eligible for this one who's a non-tax filer. So how do we do this? How do we keep from falling through the cracks? And that was like 3 weeks ago. And I still have not heard back from his office. And I find that disappointing and surprising because I thought I would at least get a form saying, hey, thanks, thanks for writing to us. And now that I think about it, I can't absolutely say that I didn't get a thanks for writing to us thing. Now that I'm thinking of it, and I made a mistake there that I gotta fix. With tears a-running down my face, weeping for you guys. Yeah, it's just, look at it as we have a lot of wheels turning, and sometimes, each thing gets its attention in its own time. And long gone are the days when I could keep, all those balls in the air at the same time. In fact, and a lot of this I am putting down to COVID fatigue. I'm not even managing to have the kind of output I was having just 6 months ago. But, that'll come back when it does. Dang, there's an awful lot left. This is a big deck. I heard Beavis and Butthead there. And Mystic Beard, just, I'm in general, I am working on being much kinder to myself, much kinder. And down to, catching the words you say when you make a mistake. Pretend you're talking to a little one. Uh-oh, honey. It's okay. We'll try again instead of you fucking idiot. That doesn't help. So I've been adding decks to my wish list. And there are 2 that I do believe I'm going to gift myself with once the money does come in. And those are, well, actually there are 4 decks. And they're pairs. and one of them is the before tarot and the other one is the after tarot, and the artwork in it shows the moments just before what you see on the standard imagery or just after what you see, which I think that's fascinating. And kind of like the vice versa, showing it from the other viewpoint, from behind. And then the others, there's one called the As Above deck and one called the So Below deck. And holy crap, you guys, it is not like hot tonight, but whoo, my lights and everything. I'm opening my window. This happens to me every time. Uh-oh. I gotta fix that one. Okay. Thank you, darling. Yep. Well, last Wednesday I asked if it would be before payday, and Socrates told me no. So, not like it was a big surprise. Okay, I got another message to read here. Okay. COVID fatigue is real. Yes, it is. I know. Okay, good. Yeah, the before and after really have caught my fancy. And thank you. Thank you, Mystic. And, I have got to acknowledge my depression. That even though, and it's so funny, you can suffer from the thing and still also suffer from stigma, from, a wrong viewpoint about it. And, having depression and reminding yourself that it doesn't always look like being sad. Because on a daily basis, I'm not sad, but I cannot muster up the energy to just accomplish things, And my executive dysfunction, it's like a superpower. So, over the years, what I've learned with those kind of things is when I'm the stuckest, and it's starting to build up, because sometimes you're really stuck and you're also, no energy to really do anything. But then there are times when I'm stuck, I cannot initiate things, but I have a lot of energy running around in me that needs to go somewhere and I can't get it moving. And if that's the case, I clean something. Usually I'll start with my nightstand. And just, I got to clean the nightstand. If I start with that, it leads from one thing to another. The zen of cleaning. And today I'm very excited because we moved some stuff out. I had a couple things. One of them was something I was using from a friend of mine, a great big grow planter. And I was actually going to start planting some cherry trees and some apple trees and then have some saplings to give away. But I just didn't have room for this beast of a thing. So she came and took that today. And there was also like a light box and some jewelry mountings and stuff to photograph some things that I had the intention of making use of it. Couldn't happen. So that was some big things out of the spare room. And it's awesome because now there's hardly anything sitting that's not in the closet. And most of what's sitting is a lot of artwork that was my mother's. And now that my entire family in Ohio and Michigan is all getting vaccinated, we will be seeing each other really soon. And my great nephew turned 1 on Saturday, and I've not met him yet, except on the phone. And he's so damn cute. So I'm very much looking forward to meeting that beautiful little boy soon. And they live far enough away to be far. It's like 5.5, 6 hours. Okay, now I'm really feeling the flow. What else can we talk about? Anybody got any questions? Anything you'd like to hear me ramble on about? So we've gotten through Ostara. And the next big is Beltane. I do have some plans in the works for the month of Beltane. I want to do a virtual Blessing of the Waters ritual. And of course, I will clean my altar for Beltane. I used to clean the whole thing every moon. Can't do that no more. So now I clean it every quarter, right before the big 4. So I will get it cleaned right before Beltane. The piles are evening up. Yeah. Very, very true. And, you know, the thing with cleaning, okay, so this used to be my mode. And this goes back to that 6th house story. Mars, you know, Aries ruling the 6th house, Mars sitting in the 6th house. Mars that squares my Leo sun. I used to never be able to clean the house unless I got pissed off. So I would go through this thing and, you know, literally get myself pissed off about the state of the house, pissed off and bitching at everybody, and that would give me the energy to clean. And then I remember having just the stunning realization that I don't have to be pissed off in order to clean the house. And lo and behold, I had a lot more energy to use. So now what I do is, and you know, I would put the pressure on myself of I've got to get this all done, because that was my mode, is to build up a head of steam, get it all done, like in one day. I mean, I was something else when I got going. Can't do that now. So it's just, okay, I'm only going to do this. I don't have to do all this. You know, I'm only going to do this. And I usually start next to the bed because that's my rest, you know, at night when I lay down to rest there. But I find that I do that and go at it slowly, give it my attention, then one thing leads to another. And then I allow myself to stop. When I get to a certain place, it's like, okay, that's enough. To have that concept of you've done enough and that's good, you know, to let it go so it doesn't flip over into overstretching or getting down on yourself for not getting enough done. I'm glad you were here too, Rose. Take care, honey. We'll see you soon. Blessed be, sweetheart. And I have been doing a lot of cooking, and I keep... See, now I can go and yell at my husband because he said... I said I needed to remember to call my sister-in-law, and he said he was going to remind me at the end of the show we were watching. And then he said, but I had to remind him to remind me. So I need to call my sister-in-law because I have bone broth for her. A friend of hers is starting cancer treatment, and it can be terribly hard on the ability to absorb nutrition, and so I made bone broth for her. And this time I put it in quart Ziplocs, a cup each, and just got the air out of them, and they're all flat. They're like stacked. So I need to call my sister-in-law and tell her I can bring her the bone broth for her friend. So I've been doing a lot of cooking lately. I love to cook. Love, 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 love. And I got plans. I got plans for this relief money. I'm going to buy a set of fermenting jars. Because I want to make my own sauerkraut. And I've thought about making kombucha again. I haven't had kombucha for years. I made it for years and years and years. And drank it every single day. But I stopped when we went keto, like 3 years ago. And now that we're kind of, more often than not, we're on like modified keto. But I can also make it for friends. Because the stuff that I make is extra. Because it has magic in it too. Looky, I'm more than halfway, you guys. Ooh. I see a white edge sticking out here. Hold up. Hold up. Boy, it really sticks out too. I could definitely see. Better. Ooh, I'm liking these. I'm liking it a lot. Look at the difference. Ooh. Somewhere I have silver markers too, but this deck was not a silver deck. This deck needed the gold, I believe. Kombucha is very easy to make. Oh, and I see, yes, hope the treatments go well. I thank you for that. I will pass along that good wish. The most important things to know about making kombucha are the no metal. Once you start dealing with the culture, which they call the SCOBY. SCOBY is symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeasts. So once you're dealing with the SCOBY or the fermented tea, it cannot touch metal. And if you want to start making your own, just buy bottles of it from the grocery store, and I think is it GT brand, but the bottles will have plastic. They'll be glass bottles with plastic lids, and those are the perfect things to bottle your own kombucha with. And then, so simple, you have a gallon of water, a cup of sugar, white cane sugar, and 6 tea bags, black, green, whatever you want. You boil the water, you put the sugar in, and you have to let that boil for at least 10 minutes because that breaks the disaccharide or polysaccharide, whichever it is, I don't remember, into a monosaccharide, which is what it has to be for the colony to eat it. And so you let it boil for 10 minutes, then you take it off the heat, throw your tea bags in, let them soak, I don't know, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever you want. And then you take the tea out and you have to let it cool entirely. and then put it in your container. Put the tea in your container, and I used to have a glass cookie jar that I just, took the lid off of, but it was a wide mouth. Wide mouth is a good thing to have. Put the tea in there, and then you'll have your, wherever you get a culture from, you'll have that and a cup of the fermented tea. So here's the other secret. You can buy a bottle of kombucha from the store and either pour it into another container and put like a paper towel rubber band over the thing and let it open to the air, or just take the lid off the bottle and put a paper towel rubber banded over the top. That's to keep the fruit flies out. And just let it sit and start watching it, and it will grow a baby on top of itself, because the stuff you buy in the store is alive. And if you just leave it open to the air, it will grow a baby, and you can dump that in the tea that you've prepared, and then you put the paper towel over the top, anchor it with a rubber band, and 9 days to a couple of weeks afterwards, you'll have a new baby and some kombucha. Which again, no metal, even rings. You got to take your rings off. And you'll notice when you handle it, when you handle the tea or the culture, it makes your skin really soft. I used to have kombucha that was getting way too strong, if I didn't drink it fast enough. And, a batch got left for longer than normal, it would start turning to vinegar. And you can put that up in your bathroom, and you can wash your skin with it, your face with it. It exfoliates. It makes your skin so soft. You can rinse your hair with it. It's just good stuff. It's really good stuff. I'm almost done. Well, not really, but I'm getting there. Oh, who else is watching? Who's lacking? Who's lacking? Right. I got 5. My husband spent the afternoon cutting firewood, because tomorrow, or no, his birthday is Thursday. He's my April Fool. So he's April 1st, I'm August 1st, which means our suns trine each other, Aries and Leo. And in my 3 marriages, the first one was a Leo. He was born the day after me. Well, the year before that, but the day after, August 2nd. I'm August 1st. And my second one was an Aries, March 26th, which is the same as my husband's mother's birthday, my current husband, my for real husband. And then the third one is also an Aries, but our suns trine each other. And one thing I have never done, because I was learning astrology when my first marriage was crashing. I was actually taking my first lessons. And the thing I never did, because in those days I just knew how to calculate and put charts together, but I didn't know what the hell they meant. What I've never done is do a synastry between my chart and his. That might be fun. Somebody was asking about saying that, their sun and Venus and something else is in Aries in their 12th house. And they're seeing that, Sun, Mercury, Venus are all in Aries. So does this mean they're going to be dealing with 12th house stuff? And does anybody have thoughts on that? And my thoughts on that were that it's something that happens every year. Both Venus and Mercury make a full circuit every year. And Mercury is never more than 28 degrees from the sun, and Venus is never more than 46 degrees from the sun. So those transits, Sun, Venus, and Mercury transiting any house, is going to happen around the same time every year. So what you can do if you're going, oh my God, this is what's going to happen. Well, remind yourself it happens every year, and then go back around that time of year, because, the sun is in Aries at the same time every year, and which means Venus and Mercury are in Aries around the same time every year. Look back around that time of year and look at the patterns that tend to happen in your life. What do you like at that time of year? It's kind of like when fall rolls around and I get so creative, that's when the sun's crossing my midheaven. That starts happening when the sun crosses my midheaven and goes into my 10th house. I get very creative. So, and I get very goal-oriented, and that's 10th house. So you can learn a lot about what's going to happen by understanding how often it happens and looking back at your chart to see. It's kind of like, Mars makes a circuit every 2 years. So it's really helpful to know what your Mars cycle brings. But everything hinges on the natal chart. And if you don't understand what's in your natal chart, then you're not really going to understand what those cycles mean for you. And I cannot emphasize enough the importance of just getting your natal chart done by an astrologer. And it doesn't have to be me, but just somebody that has studied and knows what they're doing. I remember way back when a friend of mine read a book and decided suddenly he was an astrologer and he was going to start offering readings. And it's like, dude, do you have any idea what you're doing? And he didn't. He had like the barest astrological knowledge and figured he was going to wing the rest of it. And I thought, no, because in astrology, you've got to be making statements. And if they're not accurate, people aren't going to hang around for very long. One of my favorite things is when I do a chart reading and somebody, usually a 20-something, wants to bring a friend along for moral support and says, can I bring my friend? And it's like, up to you. I put out really personal information. So if you're okay with that, oh, I'm fine with that. They know everything about me. Okay. And so I will be doing the reading, and either the person I'm reading for is going to be constantly doing this and looking at their friend, or the friend is going to be constantly busting out laughing. I'm reading somebody's chart, and I had one where it was my friend's daughter. She was sitting here. Her friend was laying down on the floor, laughing her ass off, just laughing her ass off. And that's because astrology is that accurate. So, let's throw in a commercial. The lessons that I'm putting out for my patrons are the real thing. And I am going to compile these lessons and add to them. And these are going to become a full digital course in natal astrology. But I'm trying to decide, I could do a whole separate thing and teach people how to do the math. because, you know, that's a dying art. But it's like, you know, when I think about what's going on with the sunspot cycle and how things are ramping up and how we're going into, you know, risky territory as far as CMEs and electromagnetic storms and things like that that could take out the grid. And it's like, I would still be able to calculate a chart. When I learned, it was all just hand calculating, and you know, you had to use a logarithm table, and you had to have a table of houses and your ephemeris and all that stuff, and an atlas. You had to have an atlas to look up time zones and to look up in the United States who was on daylight savings time when. And then you had to have a form and be able to plot it. It used to take me a solid hour just to calculate and plot the chart, let alone start looking at it to delineate it for somebody. Oh, lurker. 5 to 7 year pattern. Okay. Mars is every 2 years, and Jupiter is every 12 years. So there isn't a major body that is a 5-year cycle. What particular area is getting set off? Can you describe it? Like, is it a work thing? Is it a relationship thing? Is it, you know, what type of thing is happening during this pattern? Because sometimes there's a, you know, a coming together of cycles. And you have not only transits to look at, but also progressions. And the combination of the two can have some kind of interlocking patterns. I'm almost done. How long have I been out? An hour and a half? Holy shit. But look, I'm getting it done. I'm glad I jumped on here to do this instead of sitting down and watching Dark Shadows. Mind you, I will be watching Dark Shadows. It is my go-to going to bed TV. I have watched the entire series, and I'm talking about the original Dark Shadows. I've watched the entirety of the series once, which is 1,200 and some episodes. And I'm watching it again because it's so damn good. Okay, roughly every 7 years. A year at a time. Okay. Well, see, I would want to look at that chart. Because it can also be a slow planet, you know, that is hitting natal planets that can be kicking things off. I had a 5-year cycle too, and that was the kind of the job cycle. But I look at that as it wasn't so much a transit thing happening as something. It's just, you know, when my adrenals would tend to wear out and the fibromyalgia would kick in. Oh, there's one of the ones I fixed before. Oops. 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 There we go. I can't believe I've gotten through all of these just sitting here babbling at you guys. So much better than talking to myself. Have you guys seen this thing that YouTube is now offering a membership thing? And to be eligible, you have to have 1,000 subscribers, which I'm almost there. Are you guys looking? I'm at, where am I at right now? 754 or 954. Sorry, I'm almost there. I should be there within the next month. And it's kind of like a Patreon thing. People pay a subscription and get extras on YouTube. I don't think they're going to take much business away from Patreon as things are now, because you can be on multiple platforms and be putting out your Patreon subscription information there, but YouTube is just YouTube. Nobody's gonna, if you're mainly on Instagram, nobody's gonna join your YouTube Patreon if you don't put any content there, or Twitch, whatever. Oh, looky looky. I think this is my last actual card. And this is the facing card. Where did my... There it is. Okay. Here's the facing card. Woo. Rather excited because I hadn't decided to do this tonight. And then at some point my husband will be coming upstairs and we will continue watching The Two Towers, because that's how bored we've gotten, is we go back to Lord of the Rings. And I want to tell you, we have literally watched this hundreds of times. Literally. Because like when it first came out, and the DVD came out after a year after the first release, we watched it every damn day. Except it wasn't a DVD, it was a videotape. All right, let's take a look. Did I miss any? Ooh. Looky, looky, looky. I am excited. Uh-oh, I just reminded myself of something. One of my favorite movies. It is called Death to Smoochie. If you've never seen it, you need to see it. It's Robin Williams. And I don't know the other actors' names. Oh, Jon Stewart's in it. You would recognize it. It is about the seamy and criminal underworld of children's public television. Or just children's television, I guess. Okay. A mess of fixed signs. Okay. Oh. Well, see, for 7 years, that's a heavy planet transit right there. When you get into Plutonian transits and Neptunian transits, yes, you're talking years. And especially if they're hitting a cluster of planets where it's going to not even be out of aspect with the first one before it hits the second one, it's literally years of transit. So, yeah, I'd say time to get a chart reading. And my hands just aren't strong enough to shuffle right now, but I'm going to leave it be. I really like the way that turned out. I'm very happy. But anyway, I reminded myself of Death to Smoochie because there's a part, looky, 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 here comes a cookie. I don't know, stuff about it being organic and no tropical oils and stuff, but it's a really funny movie and you should see it if you haven't. Oh my God, yeah. Well, yay. High five to another Lord of the Rings geek. And yes, Death to Smoochie is one of my favorites. And um, my son's partner loves Robin Williams a lot, and she had never seen Death to Smoochie, and she has never seen The Fisher King. So if you are a Robin Williams fan, you probably know about The Fisher King too. Fantastic movie, directed by Terry Gilliam, that did the all of the animations and stuff for Monty Python. Fabulous movie. Okay. All right, you guys. God, hour and a half like that gone. Passed in pleasant company. So nice to have you here. I'm going to bail out and get my jammies on and crank up the two towers because it's, what time is it now? It's 10 o'clock. Yowza. But thanks for joining me. And I think I'm going to be jumping on like this just for the company because you guys are cool. So I'll see you on my regular things, and hit that like button on the way out if you feel like it. That helps me a lot. And hit the bell and all that happy crappy. And subscribe if you haven't already. All right. I'll see you guys later. Take her easy. Bye-bye. Blessed be.